Severe weather and heavy rain are all in the forecast for the upcoming days. Today's forecast, we're going to discuss the impacts and the timing for all the severe weather and what the future holds for the continental U.S. So as far as today's severe weather risk, the Storm Prediction Center has a nice graphic that I'm going to use here to show the different cities and things that are involved, right? So move this out of the way. Generally have a slight risk going all the way, if I can draw this, if it'll let me, all the way down into parts of Texas here. It goes even further down, right? But into southern Texas. But you see that the biggest risk here is generally from Wichita down towards Wichita Falls, Norman, Oklahoma City are all within the enhanced risk. Yeah, the slight risk moves all the way up and towards Kansas City and parts of down to San Angelo, and right along the edge here is Fort Worth with a marginal risk outside of that. So storms will be peak intensity here during the late afternoon, early evening hours. Okay, so now damaging winds and large hail and a few tornadoes are possible. And so now we're going to go over the detailed risk for each threat here. So let's take this off. So when we look at the different risks here, tornado risk as of right now is greatest in the Kansas City area down to Abilene, Texas. Okay. Although the tornado risk in the hatched area you see is SIG 1, which means reasonable expectation up to if the EF2 tornado is possible. With any storms, you can remain discreet into early evening. So moving on to the 75-mile-per-hour wind gust area, right? Within the hatch risk, you have potential for 75-mile-per-hour wind gusts or higher. Okay, generally up towards Wichita and points to the south. You see a SIG level here. I can't draw too well on this thing, but SIG level 1, which means 75-mile-per-hour wind gusts. I haven't seen a SIG 3 yet. That'd be probably close to 100 miles an hour. All right, so moving on to the hail risk here. We also have a large hail risk encompassing most of the threat area, with the exception of the just to the eastern side of this threat area, right? But if we go back to the the wind and hail risk, you can see where the biggest risk is here. Pretty much in the red area is a 30% risk of winds exceeding 75 mile per hour and 2-inch hail. So the greatest risk in the red area. So be mindful of this today. All right, so 2-inch hail is possible here, likely with supercells. You can remain discreet. And then once it congeals into a line, higher wind gusts are possible as well. So a lot of things going on with this threat today. So as far as excessive rainfall and flooding, where's the greatest risk today? The greatest risk is in the Kansas City to Waterloo, Iowa area. And I have the radar overlaid on this because I'm going to show you this is our this was our existing risk that expired at 8/12/Z, which is now, this hasn't disappeared off the map yet. You can see why this flooding risk was there. We go into today, you see why this is here. And so the QPF, the amount of precip, also hasn't caught up, so I have to go back to this day, right, and take the radar off. See where the highest amounts are, squarely in that bullseye where the slight risk is. Kansas City down to almost Oklahoma City and parts of southern Texas for today. So be mindful today with the flooding risk as well as severe weather. Okay, a lot of things going on today. So to start off with, I wanted to show y'all, and this is a deeper dive into the forecast here with timing of onset of the storms, right? So I wanted to show y'all the the severe probabilities and where they're located. Okay, so you can see where the enhanced slight risk and thunderstorm risks are, pretty much encompassing a large area here, just general thunderstorms, okay, with severe risk in the mid-Atlantic and along the parts of Texas, Oklahoma, right, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, and Iowa here. So now let's take a look at the timing with the onset of precip here. So what do we got going on here? Well, to start off with, we got general showers and thunderstorms. We should look at the local radar. We can see that here. All right, you see that initializes pretty well with HRRR model with the showers and storms ongoing here with a flooding potential, right? And as we go through time, these storms up in the north move to the east here. You can see into Denver area, Colorado Springs, and in the desert southwest, we got showers and some snow right along the eastern side of the Rockies here. Kind of just a nebulous overall rain threat here, right? But on the northern side of this, in the Cleveland, Ohio area, maybe some frozen precip, right? Okay. So I switched this to the updraft velocity here, right? So we have a mid-level system moving through the flow, which is increasing the storms here to the east, right? With some moisture and higher convective available potential values, leading to severe weather here. Although at this point, I don't see, this is 6 p.m. Yeah, I do see some rotating updrafts within the line here in the mid-Atlantic area, and some small ones here, parts of Missouri and Oklahoma, right? Let's go through a little bit further on here. Look at that, 7 p.m. Boom, we got storms firing up near Oklahoma City. Pretty intense supercells potentially here firing, and up here towards Illinois, Jefferson City, Springfield, and points to the east here as well. But maybe some line segments moving to the east with severe winds, right? All right, so back to this deep south here. This is 7 p.m. To the south here, we have a broken line of severe weather moving to the east. And then towards just east of the Wichita, Kansas area, some severe storms as well, with potential for tornadoes, large hail, and gusty winds, hurricane force possibly here, all the way down to southern Texas, as you can see, right? You see these purple colors, and you can see the purple line there. That's a rotating updraft there. Not a lot on the map here with the rotating updrafts, but um, it could be a little bit underdone. We'll just have to see how this plays out. And some severe line of storms pushing through the mid-Atlantic and northeast, potentially, as well as we get into the evening hours. All right. Now this is 9 p.m. This is 18 hours out. So let's go to the NAM 3 kilometer here. Take this overlay off. It has some more rotating updrafts within the line here. Okay. And the NAM 3 kilometer is just a little bit longer range. I would say short range model. All right. So 9 p.m. Storms moving through Oklahoma City, Wichita, Kansas, Jefferson City. If we go back to the HRRR, it has a little bit of a different look here. So we'll have to see how this timing plays out with the models. All right, this is a little bit further behind, and it may just because the latest run was a few hours ago, 6 hours ago. So moving through time here into the overnight hours, you can see what's going on here on the map, right? Without even looking at the mid levels, you have this looks like a surface low developing here, and overrunning precip and snow and frozen precip up to the north here, and severe weather move to the southern portion of it, and potentially some severe weather in the northeast and mid-Atlantic as well. And this is where we're going to end it at 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., the storms already moved through most of Oklahoma, right? But we have maybe some strong storms moving into the Chicago area first thing in the morning to the morning commute. All right, this is noontime. All right, so then at this point, we move into day 2 severe weather, which I'm going to talk about next. So going into tomorrow, we have another severe threat. It's crazy how many days in a row we're going to have severe weather. Pretty much every day this week, you can expect this, right? So tomorrow we move back to the north here, right, into the Chicago area with the severe threat, 15% in the yellow area, marginal risk, slight risk in the yellow, marginal in the green, right, and a general thunderstorm risk in the light green here. Tornadoes are again possible tomorrow, although This is probably the lowest risk again tomorrow, but the chances of strong tornadoes are definitely there, pretty much encompassing the whole marginal and 2%, 5% risk area, with the biggest, most coverage in the Chicago area, Fort Wayne, Quincy, I can't even pronounce it, Davenport, um, Iowa, Dubuque, Wisconsin, I think it is. Okay, and Milwaukee as well. But like I said, most of the area, if a tornado does spin up, it could be strong. So as of right now for tomorrow, the winds aren't expected to be greater than 50 knots in these areas, but the coverage will be higher. So highest coverage for 50 knot winds or greater is generally within the Chicago area and that slight risk area here, the yellow area, right? So outside of that, you have the brown area going all the way down towards Arkansas, northern Michigan, Rochester, Minnesota, Des Moines. So encompassing that pretty much the whole area, you have the chance of 50 knot wind gusts tomorrow as well. Hail looks to be, well, I spoke too soon. The hail risk is not that great tomorrow, at least right now. There's a chance for 1 inch hail, although low, 5% hail risk in this area tomorrow. So with no hatching and the 5% risk, the chances of you seeing hail are probably pretty small, but it doesn't preclude larger hailstones, but that's the general thinking right now. As far as Friday, so now we're moving into Friday, guys. We just have another severe risk moving back further to the south and west here with a bullseye of 30% squarely centered on the Des Moines area, Ottumwa, Iowa, and points to the south here towards north central Missouri, right? So this is the probabilistic outlook at this range only shows general categories, right? So them already saying we have a 30% risk here in this area tells me they have great confidence, the Storm Prediction Center, in where this is going to happen and the coverage of it, right? So if I was a betting man, you would probably see, this hatch risk encompass winds and possibly tornadoes somewhere in this area here, right? But maybe a hatch hail risk down here further to the south where you may have some steeper lapse rates. So we'll see how this evolves, but that's the general threat right now. So stay prepared. This is a lot of days in a row. Severe weather can really cause problems in addition to flooding, which we're also going to talk about in the forecast today. Going into Friday, we're back in the south again with flooding risk in Oklahoma, parts of Texas, um, parts of Iowa, and down into southern Texas, all within the marginal or slight risk here. So if you live in this area, be mindful of the flooding risk in addition to severe risk as we go through the week. I know I keep repeating myself, but this is a lot going on this week. So as we go into, this is day 4, right? So Sunday, we still have a marginal risk of excessive rainfall spanning generally from southern southeastern Texas all the way up into parts of northern Pennsylvania, most of Michigan here. So you can see quite a wide area for flooding with a front draped across this area, and maybe some storms just keep going over the same area during this time. So as we start today off on Thursday in the morning, right? Let's go back to about 9, 10, 11 a.m. You see warm temps are surging to the north here. And we have a broad warm sector all the way down in parts of pretty much encompassing most of the mid-Atlantic, the central U.S., and the deep south and southeast, right? You see the surge of warm temperatures, with the exception along the lakes here, of course, where the cold temps, of course, it won't be as warm on the lake here because of the potential frozen lakes still, right? cold water nonetheless. All right. So warm temps surge to the north here. All right. And so let's look at dew point values, which are another indicator of how much moisture is here. So you see 60-degree dew points surging northward here over time, and sets the stage for ingredients for severe weather, right? Wherever these dew points are highest, and you have sunshine going through and warm temperatures, right? So at 5 p.m., you can see even though the mixed layer Cape values, which is energy, is relatively low here, um, up in this area this time of year, that's probably more than sufficient for severe weather. Okay, so um, given the temperatures, and you see going overnight how that moves to the east with the cold air push, but it doesn't last very long, right? So you have the most energy focused here. You'd see overnight into the morning, the energy really increases all the way up to Milwaukee as well. So that ingredient is there for severe weather. We have some higher shear values as well moving through, right? And you can see where the wind direction is here, and the darker colors indicate more shear overnight. Low level jet maybe ramping up here. Helicity values, of course, are highest on the northern edge of this, but you can see where the strongest rotation is at the lower levels. 250, 300 meters square per second squared, which is more than enough for severe weather, possibly strong tornadoes here, rotating updrafts. All right. Yeah, and so when we get to the 3 kilometer storm relative helicity values, we see how high they are. I know I'm getting to the weeds here. If you don't want to listen to me babble about this, you don't have to, but I like to deep dive sometimes here. And you can see over to the east here, we got some increased values as well, but that's not within the severe weather area, although general thunderstorms are possible here, right? So don't want to get too much off track here. Just showing you all the severe parameters. Supercell composite, um, plenty of values here that support supercells, okay, all along this line. Significant tornado, you see how these values surge to the north here into the evening hours, all along this line, right? I wouldn't be surprised you get some storms formed down here as well. And we'll go over the future radar in a minute, but I wanted to show you these values here. 6 to 10 p.m. overnight seems to be the greatest, with these values really surging over here on overnight hours into parts of Kansas and Oklahoma. Although I'm not thinking we're going to have any storms firing here. Maybe because overnight not getting enough instability. I don't know. We'll see. We'll take a look here real quick. So you can see this is the future radar, right? You have a surface low developing here. To the north, you have heavy snow potentially, right? Freezing rain, sleet to the north. To the south, you have the potential for severe weather moving through 3 p.m., 4 p.m. Surface low here. Wherever the surface low is, you have better rotation in the low level. So that's indicative, part of your helicity values, right? Just showers back here to the south, right? And just along this line, you have storms going on, right? So go back to the severe parameter one more time, updraft helicity. Not seeing a lot of rotating updrafts, at least with this right now. You have this first line move through around rush hour tomorrow. And then another line of storms potentially move through and kind of backing up here a little bit as we get another surge of moisture and instability, right? And you have another system out here forming overnight into Friday. And you see what happens here. We have some overrunning precip and maybe another severe line of storms forming up here towards Topeka and into Dallas, and maybe another mid-level feature forming on the southern side of this. So yeah, so I kind of wait into Friday here, but that's a Thursday and Friday timing and precip and severe weather as of right now. I talked about a lot today. I appreciate y'all sticking around to watch this, listen to me talk, get in the weeds about this. Let me know where you live. I keep saying that. Not a lot of people have commented. I appreciate anything you wish to share with me. I love hearing from folks. Hope you have a great day and God bless.